Baturdays. Baturdays. I'm the dog in the miniature of comics. Talk forever, get right your ergonomics. Taking questions from the chat. With a name like that, you think they talk more about the facts. Baturdays. 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 In the BatCave.
Right on, man. How'd that sound?
Sounded great. You're at Omnidog's Vault, where technical excellence is our goal.
We did get the song played. We
That's
just
true.
haven't figured out. I haven't figured out how to get rid of that waveform. But you heard the song, which I think is important.
But one day that won't be a big deal anymore because we'll have the full package.
Yeah, I think it will take
Someday.
Yeah, it will take my thinking of it before 2 seconds before the show, which is when I think it. Dog Stars likes the waveform. Does it make it more authentic?
It's very Omnidog-ish. There's no editing on this channel. There's no... I did have to explain Instagram stories to you a couple of days ago, so you're up on that at least.
Oh, yeah. Well, describe when you picked up the phone, what my first words were.
I said it yesterday on our live show, so if you weren't here, I'll repeat it. Jess said, "I want to die." That was the first thing he said. I was trying to explain to him how to do Instagram stories, and it's the old adage is true. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. I'll put it that way.
It is, and it was super loud and distorted. Well, good. That's the way actually he recorded it. I can let's see. I actually can't do anything to modify it. I guess I could turn down the volume on it a little bit. I could turn down the volume on it a little bit, see what happens there. So
we'll try to do it a little bit different in 2 weeks and see if we can make it a little bit less loud and distorted.
Well, if I can actually remember more than 2 seconds before the broadcast, I could test it out with you during the week. And because I did everything Tyler told me to, which was share the audio in the share, but I get the video and he does it with a YouTube channel. So technically it should have worked.
That's not a sentence you want to say that often. I did everything that Tyler told me to. That's not a sentence I want to have come out of my mouth too much. IQ's worried about your voice, Jess.
My voice? Where is he?
He thinks you're a little hoarse.
Geez, Jess, how much you've been talking today? Voice gone a bit. It is a little hoarse. Actually, my wife is not around, so I haven't been talking to... I'll tell you exactly what it was. I had to scream at my dog the words no, because she's a rescue and she's very food protective. That's her only issue. And we're trying to get she's got a bad back. And so we tried to feed this medicine to her in various forms, pineapple, apple, all these things. And I dropped the apple on the floor with the medicine in it, and she wasn't interested in it. So she walked away from it, and I went down to get it up off the floor, and she turned vicious like Cujo, like that. And I had to yell no at her. I rarely yell no. Well, thank you, Roberto. Yeah, I'm explaining what's going on. I'm just a little hoarse from having to yell the word no at my dog. I never yell at her because she's super well behaved, but both the vet and the trainer, when we got her, she was very rough around the edges as a rescue dog. And she's turned into this loving little pup, and she's very sweet, but she still has protection issues from when she was in her bad situation before this. So I did have to yell no at her, so she understood that wasn't correct. It's never, I tried American cheese, Dog Stars. I've tried There's Super Squad D. We're not talking about Shang-Chi, buddy. I've tried American cheese. I've tried peanut butter, watermelon, pineapple, banana. She will eat all these things separately, but she's got such a sensitive sniffer. She can smell the medicine. What happened? I lost the minister. Yeah, I've tried a wide variety of things to put the medicine in, but she can smell it. That wasn't me that did that, right?
I guess it was me. I think my Ethernet cable popped out for a second.
Oh, okay.
Definitely anything that Super Squad D says. He's been a jerk on my page today.
Oh, yes, on Instagram.
He's been ruining my poll about Shang-Chi. He hasn't even seen it. And he's given 3 opinions about it in the poll.
Oh, that's what this is about.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
You've seen it.
I saw it last night, yes. While Jess was watching some animated movies at home, I went out to the theater with a friend and went to see Shang-Chi last night around 9 o'clock. So I was up late.
Oh, crushing it up in ice cream. That'd be good for the gabapentin because she needs gabapentin for her back. And she also takes tramadol and a couple other dog meds. Crushing it up in ice cream, Dog Stars. That's a good idea. I wonder if she would sniff it out there. I wonder if you're supposed to give milk products to dogs. I will check with the vet on Tuesday. Right now, I'm putting it in slices of ham. She's eating that.
Maybe once a year, we'll take Murdoch to get ice cream, like vanilla ice cream when we go out. It's very rarely though.
Yeah, dogs aren't supposed to have it.
They can have vanilla ice cream. This can't have chocolate, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, we've given Murdoch vanilla ice cream several times throughout his life, and he's been fine. I mean, if she has a sensitive stomach, she might have some bathroom problems, but
no, I'm not interested in that.
So, I'm just saying, I haven't had any problems with my dog.
They make dog ice cream now. Crush it up in brown gravy. I sound that bad, huh? I can take off my microphone because this picks up every nuance in my voice.
Sounds like you just came from a mosh pit in a hardcore concert or something.
So yeah, she's taking it in slices of ham right now. So I've settled on that while my wife is gone. She'll be back Tuesday. And I was just utterly desperate this morning, and I said, okay, no meds for you. And I went back to bed. And then when I woke up, I said, oh yeah, there's that ham in the fridge. So that she's been taking it perfectly. And so that's why my voice is hoarse. My horse's voice. Back in 77, my friend's vet said cheese was bad for her dog. I've never owned dogs, but her dog would get sick on cheese only, but not milk. That's interesting. NMM40. Holly, my dog, will take cheese, no problem, and we've had no problems with it.
Well, it's hard because there's some things that dogs should never have, and there's just some things that every dog's a little bit different with what they can take.
I watched both, T-Bone. I watched for research for this show. I watched Suicide Squad Hell to Pay.
Now, did you watch on HBO Max, or were you actually adventurous and put the Blu-ray in?
I was adventurous and got up off the chair and put the Blu-ray in the DVD player.
I'm very stunned.
Yeah, I know. And then I read the sequel, Hell to Pay. Yeah, that is a controversial thing for me to actually get up. But I specifically bought this to read it with the book. And I thought, I can play this DVD. I don't want to watch it on my iPad. I want to hear it through the sound bar and stuff. So yeah, I got up from the chair. And
you're really batching it up there, aren't you?
Yeah, wild adventures in the Omnidog household.
Well, that's like this morning at like 10 o'clock. Tyler texted our group chat with the three of us and said, what were you up to last night, Jess? And Jess didn't respond. And I'm like, man, I guess Jess was partying hard last night. He's probably passed out in his chair with ice cream all over his face and the remote on his chest. Because that's the most partying Jess will ever do, eating ice cream and watching an animated movie.
That sounds right.
Yes.
And I didn't even have the ice cream last night. I just watched the movie. Chandasuk, you're right. We'll be talking about that Secret Six arc today because we're talking about what you should read, or our suggestions what you should read if you have seen the Suicide Squad and movie, the most recent one, and want to get into similar stories. Unfortunately, almost all our recommendations are out of print. Some are in print, and I'll be posting in the description after the show a link to at least the Kindle editions, but some of them are out of print badly and could use an omnibus DC. But actually, that just reminds me of something that I want to pull real quick. It's a book I want to talk about. So 1 second as I professionally go off screen and look for the book.
As we look at your butt.
What? Is that what you're? No, you're not. Oh, are you? Oh, yeah,
I mean,
you are.
We can see your posterior, yeah.
Nice.
So Jess introduced the topic, but don't worry, we're going to be doing a lot of tangents before the topic, so don't jump out just quite yet.
But for the people after the show who watch the show, I will make sure that I post when the actual topic happens.
But I do want to point out to Super Squad D that my wife got a new computer, and my camera is better than yours. I look even better than your camera. I'm looking 4K, so take that.
And my microphone is better than yours, Super Squad D.
So pretty much Jess and I have always been better than you, Tyler, but we're even better than usual.
Ooh.
Thanks for ruining my poll.
I had no idea this was going on, so this is the first I've heard of it.
Me and Tyler had a GIF off earlier. I'll tell you what it was about later.
Here's an actually good question. During Omar's Q&A today, the Rodeo Omnidog said 99% of the Omnidog variants are vegetarian. Do you have any opinion on that? I am aware of the mastermind behind several of the Omnidogs, but I don't think Chat Omnidog is vegetarian. He was the first.
Where has he been?
I think he watches a lot, but I don't know that he's been posting a lot.
Okay, I haven't seen him in months.
Yeah. Okay. Jess, did you know you should watch Flashpoint, the animated version, because it leads into the Hell to Pay movie?
Yeah, with the whole reverse Flash. Well, you know what happened with the reverse Flash because of the comic, but it's a little bit different in the movie because he gets shot instead of stabbed.
I saw that it was an
difference.
Alternate version of Batman.
It's so much better than him getting stabbed. It's awesome the way they show it off in the animated movie.
The Flashpoint or the Suicide
Squad? The Flashpoint, the way he dies in the movie is better than the comic.
Okay, it didn't bother me at all in the Hell to Pay movie, but I'll watch Flashpoint next.
It's one of my favorite animated movies from
Flashpoint.
Yeah, it's so good.
I'll watch it tomorrow.
I think it's even better than the comic itself.
Okay, well, the comic and all the tie-ins are just the plain comic.
It just does
the main
comic. Event. It pretty much just does the main event.
Okay. Well, good. I'll watch that tomorrow. That I don't know if I have that on disc. I may have to.
On HBO Max.
Yeah, I'm also going to marathon Superman and Lois because I've had that on my phone forever.
It is going to be on HBO Max in October.
Superman and Lois?
Yeah.
It should already be on, isn't it?
It's either going to be in late September, early October. So
I had on my phone that it was going to be on last week.
The chat can let us know. Last time I heard, it's still a couple weeks out, I think, from it being on HBO Max.
Oh, thank you for of course, Lloyd Wong with the save. Thank you so much, Lloyd. Lloyd, you are a superstar fan. I'm going to give it to you because we forgot already, or we never thought of it. Fortunately, we're only
you're in charge around here.
Oh, now you're pushing it off on me.
The inmates running the asylum.
It was on HBO Max for 5 episodes, and they took it off.
But they're gonna put the entire season on now that it's the first season's completed.
And I had it on my phone that it was going back on. Somebody run to the TV and check, or just go to your internet and see when Superman and Lois is going back on HBO. You'll get 55,000 SSD points.
September 17th. And I don't want those points. I don't want those points though.
Too late. You have 55,000 SSD points.
I'll throw them in my my trash can on my desktop.
Someone does need to make a Jimmy Disappointment profile. Are you aware of Jimmy Disappointment, Taylor?
I don't think so. Is that Tyler's new thing?
This was the best. We did an unbox and chill yesterday, and he spent $40 on blind box, and out of it came the worst figure ever. It was really stupid.
Even worse than, was it Skull Crusher or whatever, or Skull Kicker? Even worse than that?
Way worse. This he was straight from the early 90s. He had super baggy clothes that were 40 times too big for him. He had an eyes that were just white blanks. He had some kind of vest on with some gang uniform thing on in the back. And throughout the chat, he ended up with the nickname Jimmy Disappointment. SSD, where the D stands for disappointment, because it was the worst $40 anybody's ever spent. It was the lamest. I just gave out Super Squad D points.
And Jimmy Disappointment's in the chat. Hayden.
Oh, here he is. Jimmy Disappointment, but we need an avatar. Jimmy, you need to go back to yesterday's Unbox and Chill and nab a profile pic of him. And if I know Hayden, he's on it right now.
He sends me GIFs and videos every day that I laugh at.
For the record, Hip Hop Omnidog is not a vegetarian. Interesting. Okay. I actually appreciate knowing that.
I witnessed firsthand that Jess isn't a vegetarian, so I know that's not true.
Yeah.
Well, can you eat shrimp and be a vegetarian?
You can be a pescatarian.
So
pescatarian.
Yeah. You can eat fish and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Brett, I'm not going to highlight your comment because that actually is one of our picks, but I'm glad you're watching. Brett is, of course, the one who gave me this fabulous.
Oh, nice.
Judge.
You have
Bragg.
To find like a way to like, if you can get like a cool Judge Dredd like single issue and hang it up with it, like kind of like you did with Irredeemable with the original art and the issue.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That could be cool.
Superman and Lois comes out on Blu-ray disc on October 12th. Okay, well, I should buy the disc and then watch it on my iPad, which is what I do. Isn't Fandom 2 Fanlectric Boogaloo also in October? We won't be covering that this year. Last year, I got a super big copyright hit because we played some of that footage. So I don't think we're going to be doing that this year. I can't risk it.
I think we both decided that we want to do shows that have a little bit longer of a shelf life. Like even for today, like we're talking about Suicide Squad comics that you might like if you watch the movie, but you can still watch that in 5 years from now. Who's going to watch that episode about Fandom 5 years from now?
That's nobody. A good point.
Do you hear me echoing at all?
No, I don't.
Right. It's just me then. I don't know why it's happening on this new computer that I keep hearing.
I think it's just you. I think it's just you.
It doesn't matter. I'll just drive myself insane. Don't worry.
Okay.
And James Abel, that's a really good point. If we get Jenny Blunt on the show, that'd be great. We should message her. We should Facebook message her.
Actually, my wife is hard at work at creating a show of just the wives of the three of us. So I think the fact that your wife agreed to it means that she wants to do it, and Patty will put that together. So you'll be able to ask Jenny Blunt, Mrs. Minister, and my wife, Mrs. Omnidog. Well, you can't ask him. Well, you can ask him any question, but we'll be monitoring the chat. So it's not.
Don't be a jerk in the chat.
Yeah, don't be a jerk in the chat. Uh-oh, is it just me or is the echo back? The echo back.
I hope not. I hope it's just me. You can hear it.
That is an awesome badge. That's wicked cool. Crashland, are you from Boston? Yeah, I can't. There it is. You can see it right there. Yeah, Brett had this made for me. I think from an Etsy shop. And I highlighted it in my first Judge Dredd video, and I will continue to highlight it in the upcoming videos. Uh-oh. There is an echo.
So annoying. I don't know.
Just with your headphones on?
It happened with my headphones off last night, too. Let me try this again.
Oh, you're a Canuck. Where'd that nickname come from, Crashline, for Canadians? A Canuck. I know that Wolverine calls himself a Canucklehead, but where's that come from? No echo for me.
Well, if you get an echo, that means you get 20 SSD points. I still hear it.
Oh, I know. I tried to help. Still no sponsor mention. Okay, wait. Let me get rid of that comment, even though it's a good comment. Okay, DyingBreedCollectors.com is our sponsor, our fabulous sponsor who has a 1-week sale on all Spider books until September 11th at midnight. From now until September 11th on midnight, all Spider books. I'm sorry to break it to you, Taylor, and Tyler, but the code is SpiderDog.
That's too bad. You try to do the other one?
That's a long code,
but it was best.
And we talked about it and thought that maybe we should keep the code short. But that doesn't mean we can't figure it out. So DyingBreedCollectors.com has a 10% off already discounted books at DyingBreedCollectors.com. All Spider-Man books are 10% off with the code SpiderDog. So the link for Dying Breed Collectors will be in the instructions after this. Not instructions, the description. But you can go there right now, DyingBreedCollectors.com, and boom, get your 10% off with SpiderDog. And yeah, I'll work out Taylor, not Tyler. That's not that hard to figure out. We'll figure that out.
Well, it was nice to have the dream for a little bit.
Well, I didn't say the dream was over. I'm just saying it's a dream deferred.
All right.
Dipped if I know, man. I've been calling myself a Canuck ever since I heard Logan call himself one back in the day. Let's see. Could be on Jess's side as well. Thursday at times, the others besides Jess also echoed. But I didn't echo, so how could it be on my side?
Maybe your mic's picking up my audio somehow.
Oh. Well, is he still yeah, sorry, Jimmy Disappointment. We'll try that for the next code. We'll definitely try that as the next code. Yeah, I know that, Marvel guy. Where did Canuck come from? Somebody Google that for me, will you? Oh, today's National Vulture Appreciation Day. My days on the Omnibus group are over, but I did. Oh wait, Jimmy Disappointment. Okay, the vulture comment is because I used to have vultures all the time when I posted the IST, books that were coming up that week. Okay, there's Jimmy Disappointment and his avatar. Hayden, I have to hand it to you. You are awesome. Can you see that? That's what Jimmy Disappointment looks like. Tyler spent $40 on that.
That is pretty bad.
Yeah, that's Jimmy Disappointment. SpiderDog does whatever a doggy can. Geez, I'm Canadian and I don't know. I'm Canadian too, and I don't know where Canuck comes from. I thought the Canuck used to be like an epithet, but I mean, there's the Vancouver Canucks. So, but there's the Vancouver Canucks, but I thought a Canuck was like an epithet, but apparently it's not. So, yeah, now all the Canadians don't know. It's used as a term of endearment. Okay. So we don't know where Canuck comes from, but we do know about Suicide Squad. Oh, we're going to go back to dyingbreedcollectors.com for a sec because he said books like it includes books like Absolute Carnage, Spider-Gwen Omni, and Omnibus, and anything that goes out of stock will be restocked by Monday. So it's not going to be a problem if you want any books. He has them all in stock, whatever he has up, and if they run out, he'll fill them right back up on Monday. So there, I wanted to make sure I got that said. And now Crashland's questioning his whole life. It's another word for Canadian, but it was referred to Dutch German on the French back in 1835.
And Jimmy Disappointment's talking.
Tyler says, I'm the worst figure ever, but last night he tucked me into bed, read me a story, and kissed me goodnight. His wife is concerned. And I know that's how he talks because I was left a message from Jimmy Disappointment this morning. Look who's in the chat. Not Nman40. He's okay. I'm talking about, hey now, Psycho Cleveland.
We have a show. We can actually be here. I know you were mad yesterday about Crime Corner.
I watched but didn't notice. Oh, I guess they're having some kind of... the chat is talking amongst themselves. That's not my Ralph impression. That cycle. That is, you're gonna have to go back to the beginning or 10 minutes ago because that's Tyler's terrible blind box figure, Jimmy Disappointment. Off topic. What did you guys think about the new Spider-Man trailer? Have you watched it?
I have. Do you want me to say anything? I know you're trying to not to watch any trailers.
I'm trying to not watch any trailers, so why don't you talk about it? I'll leave the room, and then you just text me when you're done. You want to do that?
Why don't you just mute yourself, or just turn off the volume for a second, instead of having to leave? Give me a thumbs up whenever you're...
Okay, I did that. But then I'll see the chat.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, go ahead and talk about it.
There's nothing in this trailer that was really surprising to me. We already knew that Dr. Octopus was going to be in it. I just worried that's going to be way too overstuffed, and Jess is ruining my thoughts on the trailer with his mouth harmonica, which is really creepy. So I'm worried that they're going to be so focused on cameos and these big multiverse stuff that's not going to be a cohesive story. So I'm really interested. I think it looks cool, but I'm just worried it might not be able to live up to the hype, and it might be too much in one movie. But Into the Spider-Verse did a lot of multiverse stuff, and it was awesome, so I could be totally wrong. We'll see what happens. Jess isn't paying attention.
Okay. Now is the echo back too, now that I'm back on?
No, I messed around with my audio on StreamYard, and it seems to have turned off. We try to work our lives around your schedule cycle, but it's difficult sometimes.
Yeah, I was playing the Spider Dog theme song on my mouth harp. I don't like to watch trailers. Sometimes they give away too much, and I want to be just way excited and not disappointed, or I don't know. I just want to see what's going on.
Sometimes trailers let me know that I don't want to see the movie, though.
Well, that first Shang-Chi trailer wasn't very good, but it turns out that a lot of people like it a lot. So that's why I don't like trailers. That first one, I thought nothing's happening in this movie. And that first trailer for Birds of Prey was awful. And the movie was great in my humble opinion, but that first trailer was terrible.
Even my wife liked Birds of Prey, and she said a couple weeks ago that she wants to watch it again.
Nice.
She loves Suicide Squad too, the new movie.
Wow. That's really cool.
I think she actually likes Harley Quinn, whereas your wife doesn't.
Oh, but I posted that my wife saw this shirt and was admiring it and said, "That's really pretty. Do you have a crush on her?" And I said, "Yeah, that's Harley Quinn." She wadded it up and threw it on the ground.
That's funny. Trying to. My wife would kind of be in the room sometimes when I watched the Harley Quinn animated show, and she thought it was really funny. And I told her we should just watch it all the way through, and she's interested.
Oh, that is really cool.
She really likes superhero movies that have a sense of humor to it. Like she loves
Yeah.
Guardians, she likes the Spider-Man movies, she likes Suicide Squad. She doesn't really like the really dark ones or the action-heavy ones that are just about fighting. She likes there to be like some interesting characters and humor in there.
I think she did, Jimmy.
Did she become? I think she always has been.
She's always been cooler. She was.
Jess met
yeah.
her in person, so he knows.
Yeah, she was cool. Yeah, Roberto is saying that first Eternals trailer gave up the whole movie plot. Well, I'm glad I didn't. Glad I didn't see it.
Yeah, that's one I'm not super excited to see, but I'll obviously still see it.
Yeah, I'll definitely see it. And I will say that if we're talking about Suicide Squad, my only criticism about this Hell to Pay, I did love it. I loved the whole movie. I didn't find that it had much of a sense of humor. And Harley was, first of all, I did not care for Harley's voice. I didn't care
that
for
was Tara Strong, I believe, who plays Batgirl in the animated series.
And she does a great job in the animated series, but I don't care for her Harley. And the lines they gave Harley were, there was only like one good one when who's the bishop looking character, Bronze Tiger, when he says we're leaving at 1700 hours, and she like raises her hand and he says 5 p.m. That was funny, but I just didn't care for her voice. And I thought if they're gonna have her just be like, I know she only carries a baseball bat and everybody else has superpowers, or some kind of super ability.
Only really one of them had a super ability. I mean, two of them. There was Killer Frost, and there was the
well, Deadshot
Copperhead.
has amazing superhuman aim. Practically,
is that a power or just him being really trained?
Well, okay, all she has is a baseball bat compared to a guy with a gun.
And Copperhead with the acid.
Yeah.
Spit.
So if she's going to say anything, I'd like it to at least be funny, because all she can carry is a baseball bat, or a big mallet. So I'd like my only criticism of this movie, and where the book was great, written by Jeff Parker, the book had very funny moments and was a really good sequel and follow up to this movie. I really enjoyed the book a lot. Especially the pill popping Dr. Polaris character. He was hilarious. He was always looking for any kind of pill, and it was actually it was funny. And Captain Boomerang, Bane. I thought it was interesting that Bane they had Bane in it, and I know that Bane's been part of the Suicide Squad or Secret Six. Yeah, Secret Six before. So, and I know this, I guess, spun out of a Secret Six type of. It spun out of the Secret Six Hell card, which I thought was a really cool thing, like a get out of jail free card with the Hell card. I love the stripper who, well, I'll just say I love the male stripper in the movie. He was funny when they were grilling him.
Yeah, he ended up being Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny, yeah.
I thought that was humorous. This book had a lot of funny parts in it besides a well-crafted plot and story. And I thought it was really good. I loved this book.
Is that readily accessible?
Yes,
viewers?
It's very accessible, and so's this movie.
I really did enjoy that movie. I do think the better animated Suicide Squad movie is Batman Assault on Arkham.
Yeah.
I thought I didn't love Christian Slater as Deadshot. I thought he was pretty good.
I was surprised it was him. I didn't know that.
I mean, he wasn't bad. But I really liked the guy who played him in Assault on Arkham. I thought he was the perfect voice. So I really enjoyed that movie. It's kind of tied into the Arkham video games, but you don't have to ever have to play the Arkham video games to understand it.
I played the very first Arkham video game, and then they got just to be too big of a sandbox for me.
It's set in that universe, but you don't have to have played all the games to understand it at all.
I loved that first video game, but then there were too many going to after that. The second one I got, there was just too many go to A, B, C, D before you can get to your primary objective. And that was true for the entire game, where here's your goal and you got to do this, this, and this, and this before you get to your goal. And I was like, this is too big of a sandbox type game. I don't dig it. So
I love those kind of games like Spider-Man and Red Dead Redemption. I just love those kind of games. There's a lot of stuff you can get into. Red Dead Redemption 2 especially, where you can get into all these different adventures while you're traveling to your next objective without even trying to. You'll come across a Ku Klux Klan meeting and you can like disrupt it and like shoot all of them or arrest them and things like that. You'll come across people being attacked by wild animals. Do you want to save them or just leave them to their own devices? It's just I love how it's like a built-in world that's like living and breathing.
Yeah,
That's
it didn't
really
bother
cool
me
element.
in Red Dead 2. I only got halfway through the game and my daughter lost interest, so I need to go back to
Well,
it.
riding a horse in that game is just so relaxing and fun.
But it didn't bother me in that game.
If you
And I
want to see
haven't
the Dark
played
Minister come
Spider-Man.
out,
Sorry?
if you want to see the Dark Minister come out, you should see how I play Red Dead Redemption. I've showed Tyler the pictures of my victims in Red Dead
Oh
Redemption.
yeah, I've seen those too. They're full of 40,000 bullet holes. You just stand over them and keep pumping them full of lead.
My favorite thing to do is to tie them up and then put them on a train track and just wait for a train to come.
That's so dark.
Or you
that's
throw them off a
funny.
hill or something. I'll throw them off a mountain.
I the Dark Minister. So I did like. I will watch Assault on Arkham. Yeah, this is what he is, the Minister of Death. Does that mean Jess gave up on the Arkham games before he could play as Harley? Yeah, I just didn't. It was too much. I just couldn't. I wanted to get to my next objective and not have to do 7 other things. But in Red Dead, it didn't bother me, and I've played sandbox games before where it didn't bother me, but Arkham just really bugged me. So I quit playing those games, and it's been 2 years since I played anything but Animal Crossing with my daughter. So she's coming over tomorrow, and we'll see what she wants to do. We may start on the Lego set.
Which one? The Rusty Biscuit?
The Rusty Biscuit, yeah. It's all set up now because we've moved the puzzle from over there to the main puzzle. Patty had it all set up on the desk where the Rusty Biscuit's going to be built. She had some pieces all set up there that matched and stuff, and so we're getting closer to finishing the puzzle. So now the Rusty Biscuit can be built, and I will definitely do that.
Cycle wants to know if you're going to read Crisis Zone.
What is Crisis Zone?
And why is the title actually in all caps, or is that your own emphasis?
Can you explain it to me? I don't know Crisis Zone. If it's a new DC comic, I have been waiting to read Death Metal before I keep going, and we're going to do that pretty darn soon. Or how soon are we doing that?
I think we're hoping to do it by the end of September. I think, or at least maybe early October.
We have to read the 3 Justice League books first, right?
Yeah, I think we're hoping to do it within the next month or so.
That's a month's worth of reading because it's 3 JL by Scott Snyder.
I can get it done pretty quick.
And then it's the 4 Death Metal books.
Yeah, as long as I'm not reading a novel during that time, I can bust them out pretty quick.
What is this in referral to? The Lego?
I think he might be talking about how the Razor Crest was destroyed in season 2. It'll
Okay.
come back somehow.
Well, yeah, it's coming back. I'm building it.
Well, we're talking about a lot of our favorite Suicide Squad books, but I think we can both agree, Jess, that there's probably more bad Suicide Squad books than there are good ones.
Well, yeah. Why don't we talk first about like the best ones of all, and that is the Ostrander books, which I read many a moon ago. This was like a one-shot book from It's the original. John Ostrander writes this. It's from 2007 and 8. Suicide Squad Raised the Flag. That is after he wrote these books, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which are would make 2 great omnis. People want this book like they want Jonah Hex, like they did give us an omni that I was requesting. I'm trying to think what DC came out with a recent omni that I made a DC omnis that need to happen, and they made it happen.
The Question?
Question, exactly. Suicide Squad is about number 2 on books needing an omni, because first of all, like The Question, these are hard to find. If I doubt they're even out there anymore, hardly, because they're so old. These were great books, and they really need to be either reprinted or collected in some kind of omni. They'd be perfect for it, because these are the Suicide Squid books that you want to everything else gets compared to, because these are so good. John Ostrander created it. They gave credit to creation along with John Byrne for Suicide Squad in the animated movie.
Really? I didn't remember that.
Yeah, and
do you remember seeing that in the actual Suicide Squad movie?
I don't remember that, but in the Hell to Pay, it credited John Byrne also, and he doesn't have anything to do with these books that I'm aware of. He didn't
Did the Suicide
illustrate
Squad
it.
start somewhere else though originally? Like, did they appear somewhere else, like Rick Flag or somebody else maybe?
Well, Suicide Squad was a book back in the Silver Age, but they weren't. It wasn't this. It was just guys that took on difficult missions. It wasn't implanted bombs in the necks of supervillains and send them out on difficult missions. Suicide Squad back in the Silver Age was just adventurers that would take on difficult missions. Ghost Who Walks says, I've found many of those trade volumes at Ollie's for super cheap.
And
Wow.
40 says he doesn't think they're that hard to find. Most of them.
Wait, who said that?
N-Man 40.
I read issue 1 through 10 of the Austria, not the best to me. The Penguin story was cool. I think those are easy to find, most of them. Okay. I will be listing them in the description. I thought they were difficult to find. Maybe I'm mixing them up with Secret Six. That's certainly possible.
So you really enjoyed them when you read them many moons ago.
Yeah, and I also read them when they first came out. So maybe they don't. I mean, maybe they don't read as well to the modern reader. But I mean, they weren't made that long ago. It's not
Wasn't
like
it like the early mid 80s.
Yeah, let's see when this says they first came out. I felt like it was in the 80s. 1987 is when it first came out. Trial by Fire, anyway. This is the first book. And it's got very 80s art in it. But John Ostrander's, a really good writer.
Did you know that John Ostrander was in the Suicide Squad movie, the newest one?
I learned that when you told me that. Explain.
He was the guy putting the explosive chip in Savant's neck in the beginning.
Oh.
And he said, I forget what he said to him. He said something funny to him. He had the crazy hair and everything.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's John Ostrander.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Awesome has a good point here. DC seems to be open to omniing more 80s and 90s stuff, protecting unused trademarks, protecting the IP. That's a good point.
Also, I mean, most comic book fans are in their 30s or 40s nowadays.
They are? How dare you?
Okay, or older. I'm just saying. There are people who lived through those eras and they want to read those eras that they're nostalgic for.
Right.
And so it's only smart to do not just newer runs, which I usually like more, but it's really smart to speak to the nostalgic ones as well and not
Right.
ignore them.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who thinks classic runs like that or The Question or Hitman, they shouldn't be hard to find ever. There should at least be one way to collect them easily, whether it's trades, omnis, hardcovers, whatever. There should be ways to collect these things. It just bugs me that they let these things just languish out of print for years and years and years.
I 100% agree.
It's like
100%.
people love this stuff, they want to read it, and just find a way to keep these things in print and keep them alive in some way.
I could not agree with you more.
I'm not saying every single run imaginable. That's not possible. But
No.
there are some things that should be a priority. For as long as you're publishing these books.
Yeah. Jimmy had to leave. Tyler said they need some alone time.
That's the second creepiest thing I've heard today.
That is, I don't know why I highlighted that. That was a mistake.
Yeah, Dog Stars, you're right.
Yeah.
That group of people does have a higher disposable income than those who were in their early 20s or teenagers.
Yeah. Yeah. As we take a look at the comic book market as it is now, it's more for adults than it is for kids like it was when I was growing up.
Well, I wanted to do a reel on my Instagram about books for younger readers. I could barely scrape together 3 or 4 from my collection. And I was talking to my wife. I said, I need to start getting more younger, reader-friendly books in my collection for Sam as he starts to get older and wants to read stuff. I need to make sure I'm ready to be able to give him some stuff to look at. But by then, I'm sure he'll just want to look at iPads, so I can just get it on Hoopla or something. But
Yeah.
I still want to train him to like physical books. Even if he does read a Kindle, even if he does have an iPad, I still want him to appreciate physical media as well.
Here's a good point because I haven't read it. The current run of Suicide Squad is actually really good. We're going to talk highly about Tom Taylor's one shot or his graphic novel, his Black Label.
That's my number one choice.
Yeah, we both loved this book.
I think if you're looking for a really easy, non-committal run, if you're really new to the Suicide Squad, this is the perfect place to start. It's just 12 issues, and it's awesome all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And this Bruno Redondo artwork is phenomenal. And he's doing the current Nightwing run, which I haven't read, but I've only heard awesome things about. I'm sure you have heard things as well, Jess. And those covers look amazing by Bruno on Nightwing.
This whole story just shows how interesting Suicide Squad can be in the hands of the proper writer.
And it's not even the regular Suicide Squad roster. There's Deadshot and there's Harley, but it's these new characters, the Revolutionaries, that Tom Taylor actually created that I want to see more of for sure. I loved all of these new characters. They were fantastic. And there's a scene between Batman and Deadshot. That's one of my favorite DC scenes of all time. It was just so funny. Do you know what I'm talking about? It involves a puppy.
Oh, yeah.
I just love that scene so much. And I love that Batman's just small little cameo in this book.
Yeah.
Tom Taylor just is batting 1,000 for me personally. I haven't read anything bad by him yet.
Yeah. Yeah, Phil, I haven't read it yet. I'm waiting for it to come out, obviously in a collected edition. But maybe I should catch up on it on Hoopla. I would love to read some good Suicide Squad. And who's writing it? Thompson? Who Thompson? What's the first name there?
I think this is also like, if you really love the movie, this has like a very similar tone to the movie. It's super violent, but it's also super funny.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the movie for a second. I loved that movie. It was fantastic. That was my favorite DCEU movie so far. I love Wonder Woman, but I even liked it more than Wonder Woman.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because I think the third act of Wonder Woman was a bit weak. The whole Ares thing and the final boss battle wasn't my favorite. I mean, it was still a fantastic movie. But there's nothing about the Suicide Squad movie that I disliked. There was nothing. It was hilarious. The story was simple enough that it didn't get in the way of the action. There was no boring moments. It was always moving, and you really cared about characters like Polka Dot Man and King Shark and Bloodsport. Bloodsport was awesome in this movie. Elba. I mean, it was pretty much Deadshot, basically.
Yeah.
Like it could have been. They could have subbed in Deadshot, just called him Deadshot. It would have been the same character. But it was just. There's nothing about the movie I disliked. It was amazing.
Well, I love it when really serious actors like Idris Elba, who are renowned for their acting ability, can also show they have a sense of humor. And I felt like he had a really subtle, funny sense of humor in the movie.
Like being scared of rat catcher's rats. That was really funny. Is that rat waving at me?
I really appreciated his sense of humor in the movie, and the whole movie, while it was action packed, to me, what raises it up to a next level is how they weaved in a sense of humor in it too, which might be what appeals to your wife, is that it does have a sense of humor in it, and to me that helps add to. Not every movie needs a sense of humor. Obviously Avengers Endgame obviously didn't need a sense of humor.
It had a decent amount of humor in it though.
Yeah, and all Marvel movies kind of have a little signature bit of humor, but I'm saying, there are obviously serious superhero movies, like Endgame and
like Batman. Batman, there can be moments of levity, but it shouldn't be an overall humorous tone for the most part.
See, now Batman, I don't want any levity. I want that to be a serious movie. But
Well,
like
there is some moments, even the Dark Knight trilogy, where there's like some jokes that Alfred will have. I'm not saying it's like a comedy, but there just are some moments where they relieve the tension, even with Jim Gordon.
Yeah, but that's not actually what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in Suicide Squad. What elevates it is the sense of humor in it for me. All movies can have bits of humor in it, but that's not actually what I felt elevated Suicide Squad for me. Was I felt like seeing somebody like Idris Elba be funny is just hilarious to me, and there were lots of moments of humor and surprises in it when Harley shoots that guy in the very beginning, which was a total surprise to me. Spoiler if you haven't seen it, but it's already been out, so too late.
It's supposed to go off HBO Max tomorrow, so you've pretty much had a month to watch it.
Yeah, that was an unexpected kind of Harley moment that I didn't expect at all. And that's the kind of thing that I really love about that movie. And it's the same way. Bat Jesus brings up a good point. James Gunn has a way of making you fall in love with B-level characters. Guardians of the Galaxy is a perfect example. That's one of my favorite Marvel movies because there was so much humor, but there was so much drama and tension in it too, that it made it really enjoyable.
And so much heart too.
Yeah.
There's so much heart too. It's not just, at least recently, I mean, I know James Gunn kind of came out of the tradition of like really schlocky horror movies, a lot of violence, but I think his more recent movies have a lot of heart to it. Like you really care about the characters, that even though in Suicide Squad they're reprehensible and they're terrible people, some of them are still trying to do the right thing. And I just think he does that. He really brings these D-level characters and makes you love them. Like Polka Dot Man, or my wife loved King Shark the most. That was her favorite character.
Well, yeah.
And just seeing him rip that guy in half and eat people, it was just awesome.
Those Guardians of the Galaxy characters were way B-level.
Yeah, Groot and Rocket Raccoon, they're not even there. Or King Shark, they're not even like, it's not even, they're CGI characters, but you love them and you care about it. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
That's a really hard feat. It's one thing to make you fall in love with a flesh and blood person who's on camera. It's one thing to make you fall in love with a CGI character.
Yeah. And Bat Jesus says 100% agreed, and that lands in Suicide Squad big time. Right. He is he made us care about Polka Dot Man. I don't even ever remember reading about Polka Dot Man. I know more about Condiment King than I know about Polka Dot Man. So of course that's on me, but that the whole movie, I think it boils down to what you said, and that is that it had a lot of heart. That Bloodsport, like Deadshot, wants to get back with his daughter. They they do have a human side, even though they're, you're not going to, well, as much as I liked Harley in the first Suicide Squad movie, she was the only thing. And you couldn't make somebody like Joker be a character in one of these Suicide Squad movies because there's just no humanity to him anymore. Like there is with Bloodsport.
He's the main villain in the Assault on Arkham movie. They use him really well. It's the exact opposite of how they use him terribly in the first Suicide Squad movie. They do a great job in the Assault on Arkham film.
And you can't use Joker like you can with these other characters because I always have trouble reconciling why is Harley in Belle Reve anyway? Wasn't she just in Arkham, and wasn't she just running around owning a Coney Island, apartment complex? They just stuck her in Belle Reve because they know she'll attract ticket buyers.
It's comic logic.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I think that I loved Suicide Squad, the movie, and I want to own the. I don't ever, not ever, but I rarely buy movies. This is one that I want the Steelbook of because I got the Steelbook of Birds of Prey. I got the Steelbook of Wonder Woman, and I want the Steelbook of this. And I will actually get up out of my chair to put this. It'll be in 4K, so I'll definitely want to watch this on screen. I know people love physical media with, I'm just going to say DVDs. I know they're 4K and stuff, but a lot of people love the physical media of DVDs. And that's just one thing I don't collect, but I will make the rare exception to own certain movies. And Suicide Squad is one of them because I want to watch it over and over again.
And I know you wanted a little bit more Harley in this movie, but I thought she was in it the perfect amount. I thought that little part in the middle where you kind of see her story of where she was and what she does is really cool, and like how she escapes, and that the action scene they give her is fantastic as well.
Yeah,
I just think that she's used the perfect amount because I don't want her to be the whole part of the movie. I wanted to see other characters explored. Because I've already seen her in Birds of Prey, and she was the main character. I wanted to not have her be the main character. As much as I think Margot Robbie is up there with like Robert Downey Jr. as perfect for this character. Like she was born to play Harley Quinn. Like there's nobody else who could play her like similar to there's nobody else who could play Tony Stark like Robert Downey Jr. or even Captain America like Chris Evans. These are perfectly cast people. But I wanted to see other characters. Like Bloodsport is the main character of this movie.
Agreed.
And the main message of this movie is no matter how messed up you are, no matter how B-level you are, everyone has a purpose and everyone can do the right thing.
Well, and I loved Polka Dot Man seeing his mother everywhere.
That's your mom!
This giant mom is wrecking the city in place of Starro.
Starro was really cool in this movie, too.
Oh, yeah.
I love how he wasn't in the whole movie. Like, in the beginning, it's kind of like a 70s action, like, heist movie type thing. And then it turns into a huge superhero movie at the end.
Yeah, he was an alien that the Justice League fought back in the Silver Age. So
wasn't that the first Justice League issue? Wasn't Starro on the front?
In the Brave and Bold, or in Justice League of America #1?
I can't remember. You're the one who knows that kind of stuff. I know that one of those first issues that there's a Starro on it. And there's like a Flash and other characters on the front.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Somebody in the chat can correct me, but I feel like Brave and Bold, they were like a chessboard or something, but and it was I can't think of the villain's name, but Starro definitely was in one of the early first 3 issues. I think they had 2 or 3 Brave and Bold, and then it was so successful that they got their own series. Actually, I want to address this, Brian. I'm going to address this at the end of the show, or when we have a minute of dead air, which we actually never have. But I will address this because I have an idea for fundraising for a charity with this. So I'm going to get to this. Don't think I've forgotten, but that's a great idea that I've been batting back and forth with this charity, and I will talk about it.
And Ghost.
And
oh, sorry.
We have somebody from Serbia. Hello, guys. I'm Alex. I'm from Serbia. I watch you regularly. Thank you. I love your knowledge of comics and your positive energy. Yes, just keep going. Greetings from Serbia. All the best. P.S. Batman is my favorite hero. That's because Batman is the best hero, of course. Thank you, Alex, for checking in with us.
I thought you thought Superman was the best character.
For purposes of this show, it's Batman. Honestly, this felt like the most accurate we've seen to New 52 Harley on screen in terms of characterization, and Birds of Prey had already gotten her pretty close. And that is from a super Harley fan, just as I am. I think I may have nurtured that in Hayden, but that is cool. Do you think
I can read the Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey Black Label book without reading anything else by Connor and Palmiotti? Or is it kind of a continuation?
Let me take a look real quick. There. I have it right here.
You always seem to have the books right there whenever I'm talking about them.
That is kind of odd. Without reading Palmiotti and Connor's previous stuff, no.
Oh, no, it's kind of weird. That's kind of like a stand. They kind of make it like a standalone type of thing.
It's there's tons of referrals from the very first page into regarding Palmiotti and Connor's run. So I would say you won't be lost, but you'll be saying, who are these characters? Because it's a definite continuation of her run from New 52 into their run in Rebirth. So
it's just strange that's a Black Label book. Usually those are kind of their own separate thing.
Yeah, maybe that's just my feeling. Maybe there's somebody in the chat differently, but to me, it was really easy to read because I knew the New 52 run so well. I don't know. This gives me another reason to reread this. See, so I'll reread it and see, but my first impression is not really.
I was looking up Gail Simone's Birds of Prey run. That's hard to collect right now because they put out like a thick trade of the first several issues to coincide with the Birds of Prey movie last year, but that's out of print, and I can't even find that at any of my comic shops online.
Was that what did it collect?
It was like the first 15 issues of her run, and they've it's weird. They're not releasing it of Gail Simone Volume 1, Volume 2. It's like Birds of Prey, Murder and Mystery, Birds of Prey, Hero Hunter, or something like that. It's really confusing how they're collecting it. They're thicker trades, but that first one's out of print and really hard to find and really expensive.
Well, that leads us into other books you'd enjoy if you enjoyed the movie, and that's Secret Six, where the main
I just finished this run today. An hour before we started.
Just in time, and you found that out in the wild.
Yes, I'm not going to tell you what comic book store it is because I don't want to help anybody else besides myself.
That's right.
I help people. I help people all the time in my job. I'm not going to help you guys.
Okay, so Star was on not Justice League 28, but Brave and Bold 28. But I know that's what you meant, Marvel guy. And Cycle Cleveland says the cover of the first Justice League or Brave and Bold 28. That's different. So which is it? This is a good question. Before we jump off into Secret Six, did your enjoyment of the movie get you excited for the upcoming Peacemaker series they are going to make?
I love John Cena in the movie. He was great.
I do too. He's hilarious. That's another guy that I love. That's another guy that I think their sense of humor. He's got an excellent sense of humor and is an extremely good. He's a good actor, which always surprises me. But I guess wrestling's acting. But when you get somebody that's that good and has a sense of humor like that, that elevates the movie. And what were you going to say?
One of my favorite scenes in the movie was whenever him and Bloodsport are competing against each other so you can kill the most people. I just love that scene. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a really interesting TV show.
Okay, so you're looking forward to the TV show?
I am, yeah.
Is that an HBO Max or
Yeah.
CW show?
It's good. CW.
Well, I don't know. That's
Yeah,
what
it's
those
HBO
other
Max.
shows are
Can you
on.
imagine that in CW?
I don't know what it's going to be like.
It's gonna be like the movie we watched.
Like really bloody and
Because
shooting.
James Gunn's involved with it. He's like a
Oh,
producer.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I wouldn't even watch that if it was on CW because it wouldn't even be it wouldn't be the Peacemaker from the movie.
Right.
'Cause-
Well, those other, DC characters are on CW, so that's what made me think of that.
Well, it's interesting because he was like a Charlton character that they used as a template for the Watchmen, and like they kind of bring him into this DC universe. So that was an interesting choice to bring a Peacemaker in.
Who wears a toilet bowl for a helmet or whatever?
Right.
That was a hilarious comment. Next, Imaginaut. Jess and Taylor. The highest compliment I think I can pay the Suicide Squad is that it is, for better and worse, the most utterly Mark Millerian film made to date. Okay. Good.
I disagree with that because I don't think Mark Miller's books have a lot of heart like this one does. I think I like a lot of the stuff that Mark Miller. I've actually liked everything I've read by him, but apparently I've read all the books that people genuinely agree on.
Yeah.
But I think he's someone who can be edgy just for the sake of being edgy. Whereas I think James Gunn, he can be edgy, but it's for a point, and he can push the envelope, but again, it's for a point. And again, I never thought the humor got away from the main theme of the movie and the heart of the movie. So I disagree with that, but we all have our own opinions, and that's fine.
Okay. That is not a hot take. That is correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, I think more people like it than dislike it, but
I
don't
really
think it was.
liked
I don't think it
a
was
lot.
the most. It wasn't like one. It wasn't like a beloved. It wasn't like 100% beloved movie like Wonder Woman. I'll put it that way. I feel like everybody likes Wonder Woman. Not Wonder Woman
Right.
84. We can all agree that movie was terrible.
And here's Sasmurph, who says, I enjoyed the Black Label Harley series, and I didn't read the original run.
And
So
Hayden said something.
That's Hayden said something. What time?
906. It's like 2 ones below. 2
Okay.
comments below.
It's a great standalone, but also works as an epilogue to the Harley run. Okay, good. Then maybe you can read it.
I'll read it on Hoopla and see what I think.
Yeah. I know the first part leading up to where they introduce, it's like a first issue practically, that, and then it says Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. That's all a reference to her earlier stuff in the New 52 and Rebirth. But then the Birds of Prey issues do stand alone. So maybe you can read it and just ask me who's this egghead character and who's the Deadpool ripoff guy.
Well, I definitely do want to read Gail Simone's Birds of Prey run too, but it sounds like that might be a little bit more difficult to track down. I've heard a lot of good things about it though.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said I do want to track down Gail Simone's Birds of Prey run because I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Oh yeah, I really like it.
Because getting back to our main topic, I really did enjoy the Secret Six. I thought it was a lot of fun. I love Catman, I think, the most, which I never thought I would. And I think my favorite volume of the bunch was the second one because it was like almost all Nicola Scott artwork, and she's one of my favorite artists ever. She is amazing. She's fantastic. I really enjoyed this book. It was a ton of fun. I mean, throughout the whole series, they kind of fluctuate with their cast, but the main cast is Catman, Scandal Savage, which is Vandal Savage's daughter. Deadshot, Bane pops up as the team leader, which was really surprising because Bane's very different in this run. He's trying to be a little bit more humane, and he's really protective of women, especially in this run. So that was really interesting. And man, Gail Simone likes to write very violent and dark stuff, which is great for me because I'm the Dark Minister. So that was fantastic. I will say one thing that annoyed me is that the first, it starts off really weird where they start off with the miniseries, which is Villains United, and then it starts off with Secret Six, I think issues 1 through 6, and then restarts again.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden Bane's on the team, and you have no idea why he's there. And Scandal Savage's girlfriend's dead, and it's like, how'd that happen? And apparently it happened in Birds of Prey, which they didn't collect in these. At least collect those issues in here. That would have been really, really helpful. I had to look it up online.
Those first, the first thing you were talking about were all Infinite Crisis books.
Right.
And I thought that was odd that they put those in there because they were so specific to Infinite Crisis. And then you're right, it gets jarring when all of a sudden it starts over again in the same book.
I think it really takes off whenever Bane's on the team, and it's that like reboot again. I think that's when it really becomes really fantastic. I still did enjoy the first volume. It was just constantly being whipped back and forth, and that's obviously an editorial like, hey, do this, do that. You have to add this. I just think it's really annoying when they don't add in issues from other books that are integral to the story. Like, give me those Birds of Prey issues where Bane shows up and Scandal Savage's girlfriend dies. I need to know that. And that's just really frustrating. I kind of pulled a Jess Bragg and said, okay, I guess this happened. It's just really annoying. That was my frustrating part for me, where I feel like I was getting jerked around a lot in the beginning.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I had forgotten that it did pull a couple of things from Birds of Prey. I had forgotten that about that run.
Well, and the thing about the Birds of Prey issues that aren't included that's confusing, that they include issues from the Black Ring, from Action Comics. They include Doom Patrol issues because they're integral to the story. Just put those Birds of Prey issues in there so I can know what's going on.
Yeah.
That was the part that was confusing to me. It's like, just put those extra issues in there, and that way there won't be a problem, and I wouldn't have complained that much.
The Dark Minister likes to complain.
I do like to complain. But I haven't read the New 52 run, which I think you have in your collection, right, Jess?
We're talking about Secret Six?
Yeah, the Secret, because this is prior to New 52. I think Flashpoint is why it ended. I think they were trying to get to Flashpoint, and they rebooted everything, obviously, and they did these books, Secret Six, New 52 books. There's just 2 volumes, I believe. There's 4 volumes of this initial run, and like Jess said, these are all hard to find, unfortunately, but they're all on Hoopla, so you can read them on Hoopla if you're in America. Or you can read them on Comixology, I'm sure. Or DC's, was it DC Infinite? Their app?
Yeah.
I'm sure you can read them all on there as well.
And I like this one okay, but I felt, well, I don't know. I always feel bad comparing it to people's current stuff to their early stuff, because I felt like Secret Six was so well done by Gail Simone, and this was okay. Her Secret Six New 52 stuff, but it did feel, as you said, like a reboot just for the sake of getting it. Well, you didn't say that, but to me, it felt like a reboot for the sake of a reboot, just getting them into the DC New 52. I'm sorry, into the New 52 universe. I still like it okay. I mean, I have it. I'm not getting rid of it. I don't. It's just not as good as the first one. But I still think it's worth reading. It's just not as good as the first series.
Well, because the LCS that I got these from had those 2, and I'm like, do I really need to have these? And you're like, you really don't have to read them, because isn't it kind of a different cast of characters?
Oh, completely.
So
I mean, the demons in it.
Well, Etrigan was in the run a little bit, but he wasn't on the team.
Right.
So it sounds like it's the same concept, but totally different cast. And it's not really tied together.
Yeah, I didn't feel like you. Well, I felt like you wouldn't enjoy it as much as the first run in order to buy it. I think you would enjoy it. This is a Hoopla read for you, I think.
Maybe I'll read that this week, and I'll decide if I want to buy it just to complete the collection.
Okay, that might
be the best choice.
You may enjoy it and decide you want it. So
well, I've heard negative things from people saying it wasn't as good as her initial run. So you're not the only person I heard that from. So it was your opinion tied in with a bunch of other people's opinions that I looked up. That I was like, I just don't think I need to have it right now. Maybe I will change my mind when I read it on Hoopla.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, so we covered Secret Six as books that you may care for if you enjoyed the Suicide Squad movie.
I think, again, there are those. If you're a newer comic book reader, I would wait on these because they are very continuity heavy to that time in DC, and they are kind of difficult in some spots. Like I said, where there's a reboot, other issues. I think Bad Blood is just such a clean entry point if you're a newer comic book reader and you just want a really simple, efficient story. But I think Secret Six, I really enjoyed it. I'm going to be reviewing it on my Instagram page next week. I definitely think you all should read it. Just, it may not be the best entry point into these characters.
And then we get to New 52 Suicide Squad. These are just the first couple of books. And I got these because Harley was in it. And I will be the first to admit that's why I got them, because I'm such a Harley fan. I will also be the first to admit that they're really, I mean, I liked them because she's in it. And I read them when I was super infatuated with her run by Connor and Palmiotti. So I dug the first couple of volumes of this, but I'm not sure I necessarily recommend them to people. If I thought they were okay for other people, I liked them a lot for me because of the Harley connection. As far as recommending them to other people, I would say read them digitally, the first two, and see if you like them, and go from there. But then there's a new 52 run with Joker's daughter heading it up that happened after this. I recommend that to nobody.
Joker's daughter.
Yeah,
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, she's not a character I care about. They had her in Bombshells.
You barely care about the Joker.
I'm sorry?
You barely care about the Joker.
And I care about his daughter even less. She was okay in the Bombshells run that was written by Marguerite Bennett. I don't recommend that new 52 Suicide. I'd recommend this more than I'd recommend that. I don't recommend that. And I don't recommend the Rebirth Suicide Squad at all. Even I got it because of Harley, but I don't recommend it to anybody else. I tolerated it, and I'm going to keep it, but that's just because of Harley. Now, the interesting thing is Suicide Squad for Rebirth wasn't very good. Justice League Rebirth wasn't very good. But Justice League versus Suicide Squad Rebirth was great. I highly recommend this book. I have this in a deluxe, and now it's been a while since I've read it. So I read it when it first came out, so it's been a few years, but I highly recommend this book. This book was a lot of fun, really interesting, really well told. It's the exact opposite of the Rebirth, Justice League, and Suicide Squad books. This one's good. I love this book. I recommend it to you if you haven't already read it. I think you will like this.
So you don't have to read anything else from Rebirth of Justice League, because I know they're both horrible from what I've heard. And I've heard the New 52 was really bad. I think you're maybe one of the only people who really likes it.
New 52 what?
Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say. That's always what I've heard to avoid.
Right, yeah. No,
but
I'm not
because of Harley, right?
Did that not come through in what I said?
Well, you said it's not the best, but I still like it. So I said no. I was pretty confident that it's pretty reviled from most people. I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, no, I'm only saying that I have this because I like Harley.
Right. Bless Joshua Williamson. He's almost always good.
Yeah, and Rob Williams, I think, co-wrote it. Joshua Williamson, Tim Seeley, Rob Williams, Cy Spurrier, who we love. And the art is great throughout, and you don't need to know anything about anything to enjoy this. I mean, this is a standalone. You can enjoy it. I don't recommend. I'm very reluctant to recommend things to you because I know how. I don't want to say, well, yeah, you are pretty picky. You admit that you're picky, right?
If you ask my family, they'd say so. They call me a movie snob.
Well, I don't want that to be seen as an epithet, but you are. I do get concerned when you ask me about books because I don't want to recommend anything that even that isn't really good. If it's marginal and I liked it, I generally don't recommend it to you. But this is a book that I can recommend to you to read.
And Marcelo wants to point out that it's not a deluxe; it's a standard size hardcover. Is that true?
Oh hell, he's right. It's just a hardcover.
Stupid DC.
Wait a minute.
Jess, I actually have a good idea for an episode that we can bat around right here, right now, because it ties into this.
Okay.
How we want DC to improve. I think we could do a whole episode on how we want DC to do better with their collected editions.
It is. Oh, I just knocked him. Damn it. It is deluxe. You're right, Marcelo. I apologize. I assumed since it was hardcover, it was deluxe, but it's not.
Well, it has the same trade dress, so it looks exactly like the other hardcovers.
Yeah, they pulled that before where they put out just standard books. Yeah, it's only $30. So those deluxes were more expensive, I think, weren't they?
I'll check it out on Hoopla and let you know what I think.
Okay.
I'm sure it's on there. Almost all DC stuff's on there.
Yeah, I highly recommend that book. That's not a deluxe. Let's see, where are we? The chat was talking about wrestling for a long time, and I don't understand any wrestling. So,
Me either.
So did we have anything? No, still wrestling.
We're coming towards the end of the topic, so if you have any tangents you want us to go on, throw out some ideas and we'll go down those paths. I have one more suggestion. How many more do you have, Jess? Was that
That's it?
Okay.
That's it.
And this isn't even a Suicide Squad book. It's not even a DC book. But I think this is a book that you'd really enjoy from Marvel if you enjoy Suicide Squad, especially the Suicide Squad movie, and that's Superior Foes of Spider-Man, the Omnibus. I love this book. This is it's one of the smallest omnis. It's barely an omnibus. It's one of the funniest books I've ever read. I think Nick Spencer is definitely one of the funniest writers in comics. Would you agree?
Yeah, based on this book, he is.
Well, and even The Fix was great.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He was really funny in that. This is a bunch of D and C level Marvel villains coming together to hatch schemes. It's kind of similar to the Secret Six in some ways. They're trying to make money and scrape by, but something always comes up and they always mess up and they get a bad reputation. And I just really enjoy this book all the way throughout. They're trying to find, I think, Silvermane's head. Is that what it was, Jess? Or they're working for Silvermane.
The boss.
Yeah, he's on, like, his head is on top of a toy car driving around.
Yes.
And Steve Lieber is such an underrated artist. We both loved his work in the Jimmy Olsen book by Matt Fraction. That was the work of his lifetime, I think. And I think he is the perfect artist for books that involve a lot of humor. And again, this book is just them constantly betraying each other, constantly backstabbing each other. There's so many twists, there's so many turns. I actually might read this coming up soon. This makes me want to read it again. This is a quick and breezy read that you're going to have a blast with, no matter who you are. I can't imagine somebody saying this book is bad.
I haven't heard anybody say
I'm not going to give you your money back, but I will give you. I'll give you a hearty apology. Well, actually, I probably won't because it means you're a sociopath. Because I never heard anybody say anything bad about that book.
No, that Omni's still out of print, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure you could find some ways to read it.
Well,
It's just so annoying. It's annoying to recommend books anymore. It's like, oh, it's out of print. Great.
Since it's a Marvel Omni, I would bet that it's on the radar of Marvel to reprint, but you can always read it on MU, Marvel Unlimited. You could always read it from Kindle or Comixology. So there's a lot of ways to read all of these books. And let me just make sure Nman40 knows it's okay with me if you talk wrestling. The chat can talk about whatever the chat wants to talk about. You don't have to apologize. It's just that I can't. I don't understand it because I don't follow it. You guys can talk about whatever you want, and man, please do. I mean, the chat is actually the part of the show that's here, guys. So feel free to talk about it, whatever you want. And next to Maginaut, Cycle Cleveland also brought this up, is Copra. I read Copra way back when it first came out, and I don't remember enough about it to discuss. If you want to write a short recommendation or short summary of what it's about, I can read it. I remember I enjoyed it, but I don't remember enough to talk about it. I know Cycle Cleveland will write his in all caps, so just don't write it all in all caps.
Yeah, he's trademarked that.
So here's the question. Marvel Guy says, so out of the Suicide Squad suggestions, would you say that Suicide Squad Bad Blood is the one you recommend?
For me, it would be, because I think it matches the tone of the movie the best. It's really violent, it's really funny, and has a lot of heart. So I think it matches the tone of the movie the best. What do you think?
I agree with that. Since it's hard to find Secret Six, and I don't. The other book I can recommend is Justice League versus Suicide Squad. I mean, it's hard to piece together Secret Six, although you can read it on the DC app. Of readily available books, I would say, yeah, Suicide Squad Bad Blood is wholeheartedly the book we recommend. I wouldn't read it digitally. I would go out and buy it. And I don't have any connection to DC where I get a kickback for that.
But we should.
Right. If I had any type of influence with DC, things would be a lot different.
I did a post on my Instagram about my top 5 favorite reads so far in 2021, and that was on my top 5. Bad Blood.
Right. And I think the other one that I love,
it was actually three of the top 5 was Tom Taylor books for this year.
Other one Hellblazer?
That wasn't in my top 5, but I did love that book.
What were the other
Tom Taylor that was one of my favorite reads this year. It wasn't in my top 5. It was Deceased. I love Deceased.
Oh, I haven't read that yet.
Especially, I singled out the Unkillables. That was amazing. That was, again, actually, that's a good book if you enjoy the Suicide Squad, because it's a bunch of villains fighting the zombies of, well, not really zombies, but you'll read the book and they're pretty much zombies. It's the villains' take on fighting the zombies, and I loved it. Again, it had so much humor, so much heart. That was one of my top 5, and as well, the all-new Wolverine Omnibus.
Oh, okay.
That's one of my favorite Marvel books ever now.
Right, it is.
That's awesome.
Did I know that? Maybe I knew it when you told me it 6 months ago.
It's fantastic.
I love that book. That's one of my all-time favorite books.
It's just consistent all the way through.
It is great. I love that book. Yeah, Tom Taylor was Bad Blood. He definitely wrote it. And the Rodeo, look at all the umlauts and stuff on there. Heyo, Rodeo Omnidog is here. Deceased has a wonderful way of handling legacy with John Kent and Damian.
That's definitely true. I don't want to ruin anything for you, Jess. You haven't read it, so I'm not going to say anything else.
I'm trying to think of what I have to read. I don't have anything to read. I don't have any homework for Kristen's show, and I don't have any homework except for
Eddie Gein.
Well, Eddie Gein,
short.
But I also need to get started. If we think the end of September we're going to be doing death metal, then I need to get started on Justice League by Scott Snyder.
Yeah,
so
Eddie
point
Gein's
is
really short.
Sorry?
Yeah, Eddie Gein's really short. That's like a really small book.
Yeah, I have that up to read maybe tonight. So I was thinking maybe I can read Deceased along with Justice League Snyder and block everything else out and just read those two. Since you like Deceased so much.
It's really... There's only one volume that I thought was the weakest of the bunch. It wasn't bad, but the other 3 were fantastic all the way through.
Deceased is so amazing. We need an Omni of those.
That's true. I just don't know if they're going to do any more, though. So I'm not... They might be doing more in that world. I know Tom Taylor's doing a bunch of Elseworlds for DC and Marvel. He's doing one called Dark Ages right now for Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing like a medieval one for DC that looks really good. And he's really been promoting. If he writes something, I'm just going to buy it. At this point, I can't think of anybody besides Ed Brubaker that's that consistent for me. I just know I'm gonna like whatever they put out. He's definitely moved into my top 5 favorite writers.
I feel like currently Kelly Thompson feels that way to me. I've liked everything she's written, although they haven't given her anything more than 12 issues, but I think she's writing Black Cat now, and that's gone to a 5th trade paperback. Despero. That's who that was on the chessboard cover. Thank you. That's Justice League. That's a callback to when we were talking about Brave and Bold and Justice League. Lloyd Wong, our sponsor reminder, who I will promote our sponsor after this, has a question for you, Taylor.
Yeah, I did buy, for a very good price, I'll say, from Jess, all the Injustice hardcovers, because he got the Omnis from Dying Breed Collector, our sponsor, which we'll hear about in a minute. Apparently there's another hardcover I have to buy, of course.
Year Zero. Are those in the Omnis?
You might have to get that then.
I can go get the Omnis in 1 second after we promote Dying Breed Collectors. Actually, I got to get up and move around.
And Marcelo, another consistent writer, Greg Rucka is always great. That you can't argue against that, really. He's definitely in my top 5 as well.
I'll be right back.
I mean, in my top 5, I'm trying to think. There's Greg Rucka, there's Ed Brubaker, there's Tom Taylor right now. I'm trying to think of who else would be in my top 5. That's a hard one.
Top 5 current writers or in the world ever?
The three I could definitely think of. Well, I'm not including prose writers. I'm just including comic writers. Tom Taylor, Greg Rucka, and Ed Brubaker are definitely in my top 5. I can't think of the other 2 right now. I don't know if Chip Zdarsky keeps keeping up the way he is. He could weasel his way into the top 5.
Weasel?
That's a good word for him, right? He's a funny guy, so he can weasel his way in there. So I could see, man, Jeff Johns just overall though, in terms of like just how many classics he has, I could definitely see him being in my top 5 as well. Paul Dini. Paul Dini's one of my favorite writers of all time, though. Not just comics.
Donny Cates, Hickman.
I really like Donny Cates, but I wouldn't say he's in my top 5 yet.
How about Hickman?
I really like Jonathan Hickman, but again, he's not in my top 5 yet.
Okay, it's all.
But they're all really they're both great. I do need to get on East of West. I still haven't read that. I have all 3 hardcovers, and I need to do that.
Oh, I got my black characters mixed up. Kelly Thompson is on Black Widow. Thank you, King of Goldfish. Yeah, Black Widow's great. I have read Black Widow. Thank you, King. I appreciate that.
And I can't read what it is. Rodimus Prime Rib. I will say Scott Snyder used to be my favorite writer when I got back into comics 2014 because his Batman run and his American Vampire got me really, really into collected editions. So I owe him a big debt of gratitude, and I love a lot of his books, but he can be really hit or miss for me sometimes.
Have you read Undiscovered Country yet?
I haven't. I've heard good things about it, but
I'm reading it and I love it.
Really?
I think I can recommend that to
good.
you.
I'm gonna wait for the hardcover. It's gonna happen.
I'm reading it digitally until the hardcover happens.
I like almost all of what Scott Snyder, but I think he has some misses for me, like The Wake.
Ooh.
Wasn't really. I think he has some misses for me that he's not always on fire.
Mm-hmm.
But he's definitely really good. I mean, his Severed's really good. What's his other famous horror series that he did? I love Witches. Witches is really. They need to get back to that. Come on.
Yeah.
we need a second volume with that.
I feel like I read that he's. I don't keep up on social media. I hear things from you and other people about social media. I thought Scott Snyder said he was getting back with Jock for Witches, but
he's doing another series with Jock because he just announced 8 different creator-owned series that are coming out this fall that he's doing with Comixology and Dark Horse, I believe. He has like an exclusive with Comixology.
Oh, that's right.
And I think they're producing like the physical copies through Dark Horse. People can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Dark Horse. And Rodeo Omnidog's asking us how we feel about Rick Remender. Rick Remender's definitely in my top 10. For sure.
Last Days of American Crime make Remender problematic for me because I love Low. I love Black
Deadly
Science.
Class.
What's the other one?
Deadly Class. His
Deadly
Punisher
Class.
run was great. His Uncanny X-Force is great.
Tokyo. What was
Tokyo Ghost.
Tokyo Ghost. I love.
I'll be getting in his Captain America Omni this month. I've heard.
You're welcome for that.
I know you really like that.
Yeah, I did. I like the Dimension Z part of that. His X-Force, of course, is great. But the only thing that keeps me from buying anything by him is how disappointing Last Days of American Crime was. And also, I don't think Crawl Space was all that great.
Did you like Strange Girl?
I am one of the few people that like Strange Girl.
Isn't that about the rapture or something?
And even I had kind of a problem with the ending, which is what everybody has a problem with.
But I think, again, he's definitely up there. He's just not in my top 5, even though I love most of what he does. Especially his more... Actually, I didn't like Scumbag at all.
I haven't read that.
That was one book that was a big swing and a miss. I probably shouldn't have told you that. You're probably mad at me now. You'll forget it by the time you read it. That was a big swing and a miss for me personally.
I don't think I even own any of it. So I think I'm okay. Let me see about Injustice Year 0. Gods Among Us Year 1, Year 2, and Year 3. The second one?
It'd probably be I think it just came out recently.
Injustice Gods Among Us Year 4, Year 4 Annual, Year 5, Gods Among Us Year 5 Annual, Ground Zero. Wait, is that the name of it?
I thought it was Year Zero.
What was it? Year 0?
I think
01?
I don't know.
0 hour? Ground Zero.
We are riveting right now. This is riveting entertainment.
Holy smoke, we're losing viewers.
It's Ground Zero, Year 0, 0 year.
What is it we're supposed to get?
Year 0, I think. Is that the same thing as Ground Zero? Help two clueless guys who are trying their best to keep this show together.
I will go through Next Imaginauts. Okay. No, it's Year 0. It's not in the Omni. Okay.
I feel Misery Loves Company, so I'm kind of glad that you're here with me, Jess.
Because we both have to get it?
Yeah.
What format is it in?
But here's the thing. You might want to wait. What if they do more of these Injustice books and they do another Omni down the line?
I'm only interested in the Tom Taylor and Brian Buccellato.
Then I guess buy the hardcover with me.
Is it a hardcover?
I think it's like a hardcover that I bought off of you.
Year 0?
Yeah, I think it's a new hardcover that just came out like a month or two ago.
Well, I don't think I bought that. You think you bought? Wait a sec.
No, I'm not saying I have it from you. I'm saying it just came. It's like the ones that I have.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't have Year 0, and neither do you, and so we need to get it.
All right, everybody, we'll move on to try entertaining you again.
Yeah, Next Imaginaut has his description of Copra, which is like an award-winning, critics' darling, fan favorite book. And let me he's got several of these, so while I'm reading one, I'm going to look for the other. There's 3 of them. Copra is, in summary, an ongoing indie published radical reworking and stylistic and narratival experimental continuation of Ostrander's Suicide Squad with Marvel and DC character analogs. Other than that, just succeeding on its formal merits, what's truly distinguished it from everything else over the past decades is its eclectic project of attempting to synthesize and realize its own...
We'll have to wait for the next one.
Uh-oh. Wait, did he say it yet?
He's using
specific visual and narrative idiom. Whoa, what the...
I think he was using his thesaurus on this one.
Whoa, I know. No, this is next. He has a big vocabulary. Specific visual and narrative idiom out of Miller, Kirby, Ditko, and a variety of lesser but notable comic artist and writer auteurs.
But here's the thing, Next Imaginaut. Are there leitmotifs? Because there's no lay motifs. I'm done. I'm not reading this.
That's an in-joke between Taylor and I for like 2 years now, it feels like. Somebody I had to block.
Yeah, we had a guy who was trying to talk about lay motifs and making us feel bad because we weren't good enough critics for spotting lay motifs.
And then he got political and rude and not cool, so I had to block him. He doesn't know he's blocked. I think he's still posting, but
he's screaming into the void, basically.
Yeah. Now there was Rodeo Dog says Ram V feels pretty consistent in terms of current writers.
He's relatively newer to be able to for me to make that judgment yet.
Right.
Someone says Brian K. Vaughan. Brian K. Vaughan's almost always great.
What did I
can't think of anything from. I love Saga. I love Paper Girls. Private Eye.
Private Eye and Sweet
Ex Machina is great.
Why the Last Man?
Pride of Baghdad's very underrated.
I only read that once and I can't go back.
I got that at an LCS while I was on vacation. The hardcover, that's hard to find. The deluxe.
Yeah.
And N-Man 40, I did get Wolverine by Rucka, the complete collection, at one of my LCSs, my treasure trove, earlier this year. You know about that one. I told you about that. That was my first treasure find this year.
And I can't wait to come visit you and just pillage it.
We're going to have a lot of fun.
I am looking forward to it.
Jeff Lemire, he's definitely in the running.
Except for Plutona.
You didn't like Killer Smile either.
No, that's a book that I sold. I didn't care for it. But otherwise, Lemire, he is a strong writer for sure. Okay, I'm just trying to run through the chat, seeing if somebody
Hayden, you're probably not wrong.
About that comment or something else?
He's talking about how you probably have Year Zero somewhere, you just don't know it.
No, I definitely did not know about it, and I didn't buy it.
What was the book recently I was telling you about, and you almost bought it, then you realized you had it, and you found it?
Can you be more specific?
Well, I guess that's like 1,000 conversations that we've had. I can't remember what it was.
Inman 40 has a funny comment. That is why you have so many books, Jess. Kristen has you on so much homework. Maybe you should read books you have in common so you don't have to buy so many books. Recently, we've been picking books out of each other's collections that we've already had. But I agree. I do. I have cut back drastically, and you'll see in my next YouTube video how drastically I'm cutting back. So I need to get that going.
When's that video coming out?
Well, I've been promising it for like 2 weeks now, but I finally got the thumbnail taken properly, and I'm hoping while Patty's gone that I can do it and get it up by Monday. Today's Saturday? Yeah, I'm hoping so. Gerard didn't care for Last Night on Earth by Snyder.
We liked it, but it wasn't like one of our favorites. I think we enjoyed it, but it was like a solid B from us.
Yeah. I liked Last Night on Earth.
You like the figures.
Right. I think that was one I liked. Wait, what was the one with Joker
in the jar?
Yeah, no. I'm thinking of the one where Jack Napier comes out as a good guy.
Oh, that's White Knight.
White Knight. That's the one that I didn't care for, but then reading it the second and third time, I ended up really liking it a lot.
I think we enjoyed Last Night on Earth, but we had some problems with it. And we really liked the initial concept of Bruce Wayne being in an insane asylum and him thinking that everything he had done as Batman was imagined. And we wish that had been more of the plot than like a huge bombastic end of the world storyline.
Right.
But it was still good for what it was. It just wasn't the best.
If you had to choose between buying Batman Omni by Scott Snyder or Injustice, this is for you. Or because I got them. Well, no, I don't have the Batman Omni. I stuck with the standard hardcovers.
I haven't read Injustice yet, so I can't make the recommendation. And the Batman by Scott Snyder is one of my favorite runs. But I can't really make a recommendation because I haven't read Injustice. But I do know that people have a problem with the omnibus of Batman by Scott Snyder because it's a bit tight. And the binding's a bit off.
The binding.
A bear trap.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I kept the standard hardcovers.
Yeah, so I mean, I love that Batman run. I just can't speak to the quality of the omnibus, and I haven't read Injustice yet, so I can't really answer that question fully. I apologize.
Thank you for submitting that question, though. Let's see. Have you? Oh, I have this, but I haven't read it yet. Have you? Either of you read Remender's Flash Thompson Venom run? It's really good.
That's
Is
hard to
that getting an
find.
omnibus?
I want it to because I want it.
Oh, because it's out of
That's one book I can't find.
that's out of print,
Well, there's two complete collections,
right?
and the first one especially is really hard to find.
Oh,
So I'm hoping that they won't do it as like a Venom Omnibus Volume 4. I'm hoping it will be like its own like Agent Venom
yeah.
Omnibus. That's what I'm hoping. And maybe they'll include the Cullen Bunn stuff in there potentially.
Okay.
But I have no idea. I guess Omar would be the one who
I have a whole symbiote reading order. That's a readathon I have to do. I want to hear from more Rodimus Prime Rib. I think that's a funny name. You're zero, Coke Zero, Lemire.
Coke Zero. You're far back, yeah.
Yeah, I'm way far back. Lemire is damn good, but wasn't a fan of some of his X stuff. He said that there was a lot of editorial interference from his X stuff, and I think Cullen Bunn said that about his X stuff too, that they got messed with a lot. And Cullen Bunn said, I don't think Cullen Bunn had, in our interview with him, he didn't seem to have any animosity towards editorial. He said they were there. I think he said something like, when you're playing in somebody else's sandbox, you have to respect the rules or something to that effect. So he didn't have any animosity towards it. He understood it, but I don't think he or Lemire got to do with the characters what they really wanted to.
I've heard a lot of creators say working on X books is the hardest thing you can do in comics in terms of working with, because it's a lose-lose situation. People will always be mad at you because you didn't use their favorite character, things like that. Because there's so many characters and everybody has their own favorite. It's impossible to please everybody.
Okay, so Year Zero is in hardcover right now, so that's good.
So maybe we should both jump on that.
Okay.
We can Thelma and Louise it off this cliff together, Jeff.
Let's see. Okay, now I'm caught up. Omar has already mentioned it in passing that he strongly anticipates a Venomnibus Volume 4, but did he say he thought Remender's Venom run would be in that? I think we know Venomnibus Volume 4 is coming, but is Remender's run going to be in that? Sasmer says Chris Claremont was the only writer who got to do what he wanted to with X-Men. Didn't Hickman kind of reboot the whole thing recently and get to do what he wanted to, or was there editorial interference on that?
I am wondering what happened behind the scenes because he's jumping off a lot earlier than he originally intended to.
Right.
I really don't know if that has anything. He just signed on with Substack, so maybe that's why. Like every other creator in the history of comics, apparently, is doing. I really have no idea what's going on at Substack.
Me either.
I didn't even know. I never heard of Substack before this whole thing. I had no idea what it was. So this whole thing's really confused. Jess and I are so far behind on current comic stuff. So I have no idea what's going on. I just know that I've heard that he ended his X-Men run a lot earlier than it was originally intended.
Thank you, Spoonful of Brody. My wife hates it, so you know it's good. Hickman is getting 6 digits to do Substack, and most of the others are getting nothing extra. Okay. Rodimus Prime Rib, whose name I love. Bad thing with X-Men is that one writer does something awesome but leaves, and next writer changes retcon stuff.
That's almost true for every character, though, if you think about it.
With Superman and Batman?
That's just how it is, because a lot of people want to do their thing.
Yeah.
And I think Greg Rucka talked about that with us. He's like, people just understand, like, these aren't your toys. They're not yours. You have to respect the rules. And a lot of people don't really want to do that. And sometimes some people really mess things up enough that you have to retcon it a little bit. You have to really go back to basics. Kind of like New X-Men with Grant Morrison. Things like that, where you have to kind of go back to basics.
Oh yeah.
So I think there are some times you have to do that. But again, everybody kind of wants to tell their own story and they want to do their own thing. And sometimes to do that, you kind of have to clear out the chessboard and start all over again. So I think sometimes people kind of break things so they can fix them, or maybe they think they can fix them.
X-Men is one of the few current things that I'm kind of partially caught up with. And Sasmer says that Hickman started off with his ideas, but then editorial got involved, which has changed some things. X-Men, Marcella says Marvel doesn't want Hickman to continue his plan, which apparently included reverting some stuff. So not even Hickman is free from editorial interference. Interesting. Hey man, 4D speculating. I wouldn't expect Omnibus Volume 4 anytime soon. Volume 3 came out. So if it sold well, I would think a Volume 4 would come out a year later. Then Remender should have his own oversized hardcover or omnibus for his Venom run then.
That's definitely a run that a lot of people want to read.
Yeah.
Not just me and not... Well, I think you have the complete collections, right?
Unless you took them from me.
Maybe I did. Look at my shelf. Maybe I wasn't in days.
The Dark Minister showed up for a sec and snatched them.
Would that revoke my invitation?
If you took anything?
But we had a delightful time. Doesn't that count for anything? You met my wife. Isn't that good enough?
Oh, that's funny.
The Minister of Theft.
I
have a sickness, Jess. I'm a kleptomaniac. Don't judge me.
Chris Original Recipe says the earlier Snyder Batman printings have tight bindings. Supposedly it's fixed in newer printings. Okay, thank you.
And someone's complimenting your chest eyes.
My what?
Your chest eyes.
My chest eyes. Oh, thank you, Max. It's actually a real shirt. Thank you very much. You
look like that one character on Fat Albert. What's the character that has the shirt over his face?
Where he's got the thing up here?
Yeah. I can't remember what the character's name was.
I can't either, but just Bazooka Joe had a character like that too. I don't think you're old enough to remember.
I used to have Bazooka Joe gum, and you read the comics on the.
Oh yeah, cover. They had that guy with the yellow spiky hair that had his shirt like that. Okay, good.
I'm old now, Jess.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm over the hill, man. I'm past my prime. The expiration date's coming.
I don't want to hear about that. You're just 30, right?
I'll be 31 this year.
31.
But it's definitely different than your 20s.
Oh, yeah.
A lot changes, for sure.
Yeah. I don't want to hear it.
You're still what, 36, 37?
I'm a multiple of in the 30s, yeah. My brain is 15, fortunately. That's why I get along. Well,
I think your brain's a little bit older than Tyler. Tyler's 14, so you're probably like 17.
I think my brain is younger than that. I feel like I'm more like an 8-year-old because
there's no way your brain's more mature than Tyler. That's not possible.
I don't think about girls now the way I did when I was 17. I think I'm more of an 8-year-old where my wife, I'm happy with my wife, and I'm not
like most 8-year-olds are with their wives.
Well, no, but most 8-year-olds don't think about girls. So, wait, where am I? I don't know.
This conversation
it's a bad analogy.
Let's just keep going.
Okay. Sad, I have Rodimus Prime Rib. Sad, I have to wait until next year for the Gotham Central Omnibus. Really excited to read that book. You are extremely fortunate to be getting that book because DC, up until like this year, I doubt they were even thinking of it.
DC has been doing better lately. There's somebody in that office who's finally awake. They finally woke up and were like, oh yeah, I have a job to do. I got to start putting these things out. I have to actually have it make sense. It was like the other day whenever Kate and I went to the pool. We have pool passes at our local pool. And I was meeting Kate and Sam there. and I walk up to the front desk. We have to scan your pass, your pool pass, and the person working there just laying down, sleeping like this. And I was just like, should I wait? Should I say something? I just kept going. I was like looking around. I was like, that's why I feel like the person's like at the DC Collected Editions office. Their head just constantly down on their desk like this, just sleeping. Just woke up. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't want to get fired. I have something to do here.
Here's a legit question that I have to think about. Just, do you have the Fall of Mutants OHC? Yup. Will you upgrade for the Omni Dust Jacket? I am keeping the OHC for the embossed foil printed faux leather hardback. Are they adding material to it at all? I don't actually watch Omar's channel at all, so I don't know any. I don't watch anybody's YouTube channel, not just Omar. I don't watch anybody.
It would have been funnier if you didn't add that part.
Okay, take it back. I just don't watch Omar's channel. That jerk.
If you can't retroactively.
Too late. I can't take it back.
You ruined it.
All right, sorry. I don't know what I'm going to do, man. That's a good question. No additional content. Okay. Well, then I'll probably just keep what I have.
You're really trying to avoid upgrading at this point.
Well, especially if there's no additional content.
Right.
Yeah.
Jess is a new man. Patty, if you're watching, Jess is a new man.
I think she would have signed in and said something by now.
Yeah, I think you're safe.
This is a Warren Ellis book that I actually haven't got to yet. Desolation Jones, have you read that?
I have not attempted to pick it up because he never finished the series. Like, he's done multiple times. There was like 1 or 2 issues left and he didn't finish it. I don't understand. I never understand why books do that. It's like you have 1 issue left and you can't finish it, or like 2 issues left. It's like, come on.
I guess Jess doesn't really near mint. Let me show you. I'm going to share my screen with something on my. Oh no, I got to blow it up first because that's how I share it. This is something that's on my desktop to tease a certain person.
Looks like is he dying in that picture?
I don't know.
I think he's weeping.
I believe Hayden sent me that.
It looks like he just found out that he got fired from Marvel or something.
I don't know. Hayden sent me that, and I always send it to Omar.
He just found out that DC is not going to make the Absolute of Year 2. He found out that McFarlane Year 2 figure got revoked. Well, I have to get going.
Okay.
Would you want to answer like 1 or 2 more questions?
Yeah, sure. Here's a good one for you and us. Wait, let's talk real quick about DyingBreedCollectors.com, our sponsor. If you go onto his site and are interested in any Spider-Man books, all Spider books get 10% off the already discounted price with the code SpiderDog. You get an extra 10% off the already discounted price at DyingBreedCollectors.com. Code SpiderDog. That's for the next week till midnight, September 11th, next week. So please use our sponsor. Get your Spidey books there. Use SpiderDog. And go to DyingBreedCollectors.com and.
Did you ever make spider dogs over the open fire?
Spider dogs? What are they?
You pretty much stick like a hot dog on like one of those hot pokers that you on a campfire, and you cut it in different pieces, and it looks like a spider, and you cook it over the fire. It's called a spider dog.
What now?
You
use branches?
Yeah, or like the prongs that they have. Have you ever cooked like a hot dog over a fire before?
Yeah.
You like cut it in a certain way where you make the ends like legs and it looks like a spider, and you call it spider dogs.
I never heard of that.
It's actually pretty good.
Oh. Okay. Well, my campfire days are way over.
Every time we go to a campfire, my wife makes me take a shower when I get home because she doesn't want me to stink up the whole house.
Oh. Yeah, I was just, Simeon, as a matter of fact, I was telling Taylor that I unreservedly recommend that he read it. I'm reading it digitally now, and I love it. And I think that I'm reading it digitally because I know it's going to come out in some kind of hardcover format.
I'll check it out on Hoopla.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that.
I've heard good things about it. They're currently writing the movie to that right now, or the TV show. I can't remember. Charles Soule and Scott Snyder, who wrote the series, are writing the screenplay of it.
Oh, it's already. I didn't even know it got optioned.
But again, that doesn't really mean much. So many comic creators have written screenplays and never go anywhere. But I know they are working on the screenplay.
Oh, I didn't even know it had been optioned, let alone they were writing a screenplay.
Pretty much most creator-owned comics from those kind of writers get optioned. It's just a matter if it ever goes anywhere.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think it would make an excellent movie or TV show.
It seems like it'd be a better TV show. It seems like a long-form series.
It is, it's got, I think each arc would lend itself perfectly for a TV show, an episodic TV show, if it's done with a nice budget, because it's going to need some effects. It's done in a different dimensions US, so unless it's a dystopian current US, I can't remember, but
isn't that like the U.S. like walls itself off and doesn't communicate to anybody? Then they finally say you can come in because we have this like cure or something, and then there's like a bunch of wild animals and like dinosaurs there and stuff.
It's really cool.
I'll definitely check it out.
It is really cool.
I was just waiting for someone who's like not just someone on the internet who was telling me it was good.
Oh, okay, me.
Okay, I guess that's good enough.
Taylor is the man. I like your info. Let's hit that like button. Thank you, Rodderus Prime. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on your compliment.
And then N-Man40 yells Taylor later. Just Taylor. So
Taylor.
Thanks.
Taylor.
You trying to get my attention, or? Well, I appreciate it. I try my best. I'm glad I could teach you about spider dogs. So use that spider dog code at Dying Breed Collectors.
When the trade comes out, you guys should read Ram V's Many Deaths of Layla Star book. It's fantastic. Okay, I have heard of it, but I haven't been reading it because I'm reading so many other things. But Why the Last Man, Somebody's Killing Children, Understand We're Kind of Extra, all supposed to be TV or future movies. I think there's...
Why the Last Man comes out in like a week.
It
that
comes
was really
out.
Good.
Yeah, it's like actually coming out. All these other things are just going to be optioned. I think you can throw a dart and in my collection and hit any independent writer's stuff or any comic book, and it's being thought about for TV or movies.
Pretty much everything is being optioned right now because
it feels like the comic book industry is where they're going to get any of their sci-fi adventure.
I just don't like whenever you can tell that a writer is writing a book just to make it into a movie or TV show, because you can tell.
Oh, do you have an example of that?
I think Mark Millar does that because that's what his whole thing is Netflix. He works with Netflix, and so I think his books are written to become movies or TV shows, and you can just tell. And that's why he abandons them. Like he'll do one arc of something and not come back to it for a while because he has the IP now. But I am glad they're doing the Magic Order trade volume 2. They're doing more of that. I love that book.
I do love that book also, and I was disappointed that they abandoned doing that TV show.
Right, so I think he does that right now because he has that deal with Netflix, which is frustrating.
Yeah, because you and I both really like Magic Order. That's one of the few Mark Millar books that doesn't seem edgy for the sake of being edgy, I think you said earlier.
That's the critique I hear of him the most.
Yeah. I agree with it. Yeah. Joel J. Excuse me. Would I recommend Dead Man? I think Dead Man is... You have to be a Dead Man fan, and you have to be willing to want to read the beginning Silver Age stuff. I will say Neil Adams' art in it is untouched and beautiful. The colors are the same as the original comic books. So his art shows you why he was such an innovative and great breath of fresh air into that industry back 68, 69, whenever Strange Adventures 207 came out. Although that was, yes, I'm aware it was Carmine Infantino that originally drew it, and that it was a different author. I believe Arnold Drake was the one who wrote that first one. But then Neil Adams took over, and you'd think I'd say that was the death knell of Deadman. He actually wrote really well back then. I don't know what happened, but Deadman's actually, those first chunk of issues that he drew, he wrote, and they're really good. And then if you're into the Deadman character, then the rest of the omnibus is good but you have to like Deadman. And I do, but specifically I love it because you get unrestored Adams artwork, and it's brilliant.
Well, I'm gonna go hang out with my wife a little bit before she heads to bed, but this was a lot of fun. The chat was really interactive, and I really appreciate that, guys.
And where can they find you on the internet?
They can find me at Minister of Comics on Instagram, where I post reels like of Jess's collection, which is still doing pretty well. I do hauls, I do reviews, I do some other things as well. So check me out at Minister of Comics on Instagram if you don't already.
I highly recommend you go to his Instagram and see that reel. That's the best reel. That's the best tour of my basement and BatCave that's ever been done, especially with the way he choreographed it. That was done in one take, and he did it brilliantly. So go see my collection at Minister of Comics. And you can see me, OmniDog's Vault, on YouTube, like right now, and on OmniDog's Vault on Instagram. And remember, DyingBreedCollectors.com, code word SpiderDog. Thank you to the chat so much for being so interactive tonight. Thank you to our fans out there who are watching afterwards, and thank you to Dying Breed Collectors for being our sponsor. Thank you to my co-host, who was great as always. Peace and love. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you viewers, and I mean it.